I'm kind of really excited about this one because I know there is a way to lose weight, and I know it is healthy, and I know that it works, and I can't wait to share it with you. Thanks for joining me today on Amazingly Deep Thoughts, where I help you, teens and young women, change your own lives and find peace through biblical living. Eat more food. There you have it. That's it. Eat more food. Except for eat the right kinds of more food. This is part 2 in the series on how to lose weight the right way. And in the first video, we talked about how you should not eliminate food groups from your diet. And in this video, I want to talk about how they will help you to lose weight when you eat enough of them in the right way. Many obese people, or people who struggle with their weight, are malnourished because they are consuming processed junk food with no nutrient value. And when you try to transition from non-nutrient foods to nutrient-dense foods, it's kind of a shock to your taste buds. To a hungry soul, every bitter thing is sweet, and so you say, I'm going to choose to eat the nutrient-dense food, and you will develop a taste for that won't go away. And so I want to encourage you to eat more of the right foods. So what are the right foods? Protein. If you want to lose weight, I would recommend eating protein for every single meal. And that's because our bodies, especially the bodies of females, we tend to become anemic, and we have muscle loss as we age, and protein is what we need for that strength in our blood and in our body. And a friend talked to me about how much meat you should be eating, and it's 0.7% to 1.25% of your body weight. And so for me, I would probably say that I am an average build. I'm 5'7", I'm about 135 to 140 pounds. I wear a size 10, I'm just straight up medium. And I need between 90 to 110 grams of protein every day. And when I was looking at what it takes to eat that much meat, I was kind of like, how do you do this? And so I started figuring out, okay, what can I eat for every meal to get that amount of protein? And an amazing thing happened is that my anemia and my sluggishness and just that inner exhaustion and lightheadedness, it went away because I was eating what my body needed, and I wasn't as hungry because it truly fills you up. So I started eating eggs in the morning and meat at lunch and meat at dinner, and I just would keep that high protein, strength oriented mentality in what I was doing. So number 1, eat more protein. If you're like me, try to get between 90 and 110 grams of protein every day. My personal favorite food group is fruits. And in that last video on food groups you shouldn't eliminate, I talked about sugar and how the Bible says to eat so much honey as is sufficient for thee. And another shock to my system was when I found out that our bodies don't really need more than 30 grams of sugar a day. And so I started adding these things in and tracking my food. I use MyFitnessPal, but when I started tracking it, I realized, you know what, 30 grams of sugar isn't a little amount of sugar, but it's not a lot of sugar. And so I ended up where I can eat 1 fruit and also have a tablespoon of sugar in my coffee. I make a homemade creamer combo, which I can put the link to that recipe down in the description below. But I can have sugar, and I can have the sugar that I find in my breads and the sugar in some of the vegetables. You can have sugar, you just need to keep it in moderation. I probably keep mine between 30 grams and 45 grams, and then there are special occasions. But regardless, fruits a half a cup a day of frozen berries or one fruit a day, and then a sugar in your coffee or whatever, but get it in there. It is part of the joys of life. Don't think that God doesn't want you to eat things that are sweet, or else he wouldn't have even given us fruit. He wouldn't have made the milk for babies to be sweet, and he would not have made manna to taste like the honeycomb. God is not against sweet tasting food. So along with fruits comes veggies, and when I was younger and I would see, okay, so we're supposed to eat this much of fruits and veggies, and I would really kind of like eat that much of fruits and not really veggies, and they would go bad, and I would try to buy them, and then they would wilt in the refrigerator, and it was kind of really sad. But as I learned more about nutrition and how it affects your body, I just couldn't get over the fact that we really do need 2 cups of vegetables a day. And that seems like a lot of vegetables. If you're heaping a whole cup of peas onto your plate, I'm thinking of my sister who hates peas. You realize how nutritionally empty our food is because we skip vegetables as the entire food group. We look at produce and many of us just go to fruit. Not only are vegetables nutrient dense, they hold your fiber, they hold your carbs, so many vitamins and minerals, but they also are larger and they fill your stomach. You can take a Krispy Kreme or a Dunkin' Donuts glazed donut and squeeze it, and it turns into this tiny little thing, and you could eat 40 of them and have gone to have, you could have 3,000 empty calories and you're still hungry. Or you can eat 2 cups of vegetables and you're like, whoa, I am completely full, and yet your brain and your blood and your body is so thankful, and you will lose weight. So 2 cups of vegetables a day. What I try to do is I try to eat a cup of raw vegetables at lunch with some homemade ranch dip and a cup of cooked vegetables at dinner. To me, that just makes sense in how I do food, but however you want to do it, go for it. 2 cups of vegetables a day. All right, so fiber, because we all need that. I cannot tell you how many women my age I know that struggle with digestion. And I'm kind of a nerd about food, and so I just kind of listen to their conversation and absorb it, and I say nothing because I don't want to get in that kind of conversation where somebody's mad at me because I seem like a know-it-all. But I'm just telling you, I know a lot about food, and I've done it through experience. I've been so sick that I remember as a 10-year-old laying on the floor of my bathroom in the middle of the night with sweats and holding my stomach in so much pain, and I didn't know what was wrong with me. And then when I was in college and I was traveling with our singing group, I would be like, we have to stop. We have to stop now. I know we're on the freeway, but we have to stop because there's going to be issues if we don't. And I just struggled with it, and it's just embarrassing. But the fact is that I apparently didn't even know what fiber was or how to get it, and I was drinking soda and having non-nutritive junk food, and so I changed my diet, and I literally have no struggles in any area with my digestion because of the few simple things that I changed. And the first is that I stopped drinking sugar, except for that 1 tablespoon of sugar with my coffee every day. I stopped drinking soda. I stopped drinking anything that came in a jar and you could read it. I don't care if it's aspartame, stevia. I stopped drinking sugar and I started drinking water because you need straight up water for your digestion. And the second thing was that I started reading labels to purposefully get fiber in my diet. We all need 25 to 35 grams at least of fiber a day. And I would challenge you to see if you're even close to 25. What I have found is that grape nuts, you can add that to a fruit and yogurt parfait. Chia seeds, you can add that to your parfait, or you can add it to salads and salad dressings. Those are excellent high impact sources of fiber. Refried beans. Again, if you think that beans are bad for you, I'd really encourage you to go watch that video of why we shouldn't eliminate any food groups from our diet. But when I go to the store and I look at bread, I look for bread to see the fiber count in it. Regardless, have a fiber-oriented mentality, because that's probably one of the biggest areas that people struggle, is you just assume because you're eating vegetables, you're getting enough fiber. Moving on. So eating more of the right foods, you have to look at the food group of fat, which fat adds the flavor to your foods. Whether you're having bacon bits or some chopped up bits of ham or peanut butter or almond butter, your oils, your cheeses and your butters and your milk, those are all fats, and they do add the flavor to your food. There was a time in our society, and there might be again, where fats were like the bad guy, and so you could eat eggs but you couldn't eat the yolk in the eggs, because the white of the egg is protein, the yolk of egg is fat, and so you needed to eliminate the eggs. And so therefore you should eliminate mayonnaise from your diet, because your mayonnaise is essentially egg and oil. It is just a fat product that gives flavor and moisture to your food. I am not anti-fat, and nor am I saying you should eat all fat. I am a person who believes in moderation, but I just want you to understand that as fat is not something that you need to avoid, use it as is intended. Let your moderation be known unto all men. Yeah, moderation. In fact, one of the fruit of the Spirit is temperance. And gluttony is right up there with drunkardness. The drunkard and the glutton. The drunkard and the glutton. The person who eats to excess. If you look back at Roman history, they would have, you would see pictures of people laying on their beds with the banquet, and the woman would be dropping grapes into the man's mouth, and in the Bible you'll see where it says banquetings and revelings, and people would eat and eat and eat and eat so much that they would throw up, kind of like people do at parties, but drinking with alcohol. And then they'd go and eat and eat and eat and eat some more. And that is the absolute extreme of gluttony. But we as Christians, not only are we told to not be gluttons, but we're also told to let our moderation be known unto all men. And moderation and temperance and that self-control says, okay, how much do I need? And you'll be surprised. You probably do need close to 1,900 to 2,000 calories, contrary to the diet mentality of eat less, move more, which stops your metabolism and slows everything down and causes you to not only starve but binge eat. And so as you cut out the non-nutritive foods and you eat more, let's just say you eat about 1,900 2,000 calories worth of food every day, that is probably sufficient for you. And so you look and you say, okay, this is what is sufficient for me. I'm not starving. I can eat normal meals. I'm eating my 100 grams of protein, my 35 grams of fiber. I'm sticking to around 40 grams of sugar a day. I'm eating my 2 cups of vegetables, and I'm drinking my water, and I'm exercising, and I'm moving a little bit every day. The Bible says that bodily exercise profits little, and it does profit little. You can work out an entire hour and only burn 300 calories, and that is 1 donut. So bodily exercise profiteth little. What profits a whole lot is that moderation and saying, am I eating in excess? Am I a glutton? Am I eating beyond what I need? And again, you can eat for enjoyment. You can have your sugars and your meats and your carbs and your potatoes. You can have it all. Are you habitually eating in excess? Paul says that all things are lawful, but not all things are expedient. And I will not be brought under the power of any. And food has a grip on so many people, and if you're struggling with your weight, that's probably where it is. And maybe you've struggled with yo-yo dieting or starving yourself and eating the 1200 calorie day and then quitting for 6 months and gaining more weight than you had ever done before. What I want you to focus on is to run the race that is set before you. And this is extremely important because the why of what you do matters just as much as what you do. If you are trying to lose weight so that you can have flat abs or get that one guy's attention or so that you can feel more confident, that won't last. Those are emotional motivations and they're empty. When you look at the stewardship of your body and you say, you know what, I'll have more time and I can make more money, and I can broaden my influence. But God only gave me one body. You are a steward, and you will give account of what God has given you to use for Him. Watch that video on why you need to stop eliminating food groups, and if you have already seen that video, go ahead and click on the link below because I've created a little graphic for you that shows the 7 habits you can make every day that will cause you to lose weight.